my name is Lynn and I'm coming to you as always from Cardiff in Wales in the UK, and this is a knitting, spinning, sometimes crochet, sometimes dyeing, but always fibre-based podcast. And if you are a new viewer, hello, welcome, thank you so much for coming along, I'm glad you found us. And if you are a regular or a returning viewer, as always, thank you so much for giving me some more of your time and coming to check out what I've been up to, really. So I hope you've got a knitting project, have you? If you haven't, just pop and get one now. We'll wait. So yes, hope you've got a knitting project and we can keep you company for a few rows or rounds, whatever you're up to. It's quite odd. I find myself home alone. This doesn't happen very often, I realise. Yeah, it's just weird. My husband's just gone to do some filming today. It's Saturday the 14th of August, I believe. I might be wrong, who knows. My son has gone to spend the weekend with his girlfriend. My daughter has now gone back to Winchester. So yes, the house is mine. So I have made myself a pot of coffee. Very often I make a pot of coffee and then by the time I come to pour myself the coffee, everybody else has taken the coffee and there's very little left. But this pot is all mine. So, nice bit of coffee. What have I got planned today? A little bit of knitting, a little bit of work, and then my friend Carol is hopefully coming over this afternoon for a bit of a knit and natter, a bit of a catch up, which will be really nice. So yeah, that's the plan. A pretty much perfect day really, and editing this of course. My camera had a little bit of a hissy fit earlier and it decided that the memory card was full and it didn't want to do anything, and then I tried to download the stuff onto my hard drive and that was like, I'm not working either, so yeah, whatever. So hopefully we can get beyond that and I can do a bit of editing and get this up hopefully this evening, we shall see. But that is not your concern. So what have I been up to? Ta-da! Yes! I have finished my Zweig, which is by Calon Hunter. It's been so long ago now, I will check in my little notebook. I'm pretty sure. I always get confused between Calon Hunter and Andrew Murray, I don't know why. Calon Hunter, yes, Boyland Knitworks. So yeah, this is the Zweig and it's my second one. Let me show you what I did. So, it's high twist merino, which I know most of you will have heard if you have been here for a while. High twist superwash merino, and this greeny colour I dyed myself. I wanted something juicy and wasabi-y and green, and yes, I'm really happy with the colour. It's nice and bright. And this is through Valborg and it's borderline. And when I saw this skein, I think I saw it at EYF, gosh, how many years ago is that now? 2-3 years ago maybe? Time goes weird, doesn't it? But it's such a beautiful skein that I wanted to make sure that it was featured. I knew I wanted to use it in a colour work yoke, but I wanted it to be the most important thing on the garment, and that's why I chose this pattern, because it has a lovely kind of lacy textured yoke really. I went down a needle size because of, not so much because of my tension, but because the fabric that was being created on the needle size that was suggested, which I think is 3.5 maybe, 3.5 or 3.25, was just a little bit too open. So I decided to go down a needle size, and I'm glad I did because it's superwash, it's still a little bit stretchy. So I know it will stretch out a little bit. And then let me just, what else did I do? So it's quite cropped. I haven't blocked it yet. I know, I'm wearing it without blocking it. Bad person. But I added the little kind of the triangles down here, and I also added that at the edge. What things did I change? Like I said, the needle size I changed, which affected the row count a little bit. So I did elongate the yoke slightly. I didn't need to do it a great deal actually, but I did have to elongate it a little bit. And then I went down a pattern size for the sleeves. I love the fact that the body is nice and baggy, but I was just aware that if I continued on that stitch count, that the sleeves would be really baggy, and the sleeves often stretch, don't they, anyway, with superwash. So I thought that's going to stretch a little bit too much, so I did go down a needle size for the sleeves, so didn't pick up as many underneath the arm to hit the size of the amount of stitches for the sleeve. And then for my cuff, I went all the way down to a 2.25, no, a 2.5, is that right? No, I think I went all the way down to a 2, just to really cinch in the sleeves. They're quite balloon sleeves in the patterns, but I did regular decreases and then cinched in for the ribbing. It's because I often pull them up. I say often, I always pull them up. So it's quite nice to have that grippiness of the rib. So I did that on both of them. They're a little bit short at the moment, but I know they're going to stretch, which is why I kind of made them a little bit short. But as I say, I pulled them up anyway. And then on the bottom, the pattern says to do the body rib in the same size needle as everything else. It doesn't go down in needle size, and I know that's to kind of retain that square pattern. And funnily enough, somebody did message me saying that they had done that, but it was flipping up, and mine was flipping up as well. But usually it can sort of, when that happens, it sort of blocks out fine. But it was just a little bit too much, actually. It was definitely wider, so therefore the rib was flipping up, and it's quite a shallow rib, so it's not enough to kind of keep it that weighted it down. So I did go back and redo that ribbing on a smaller size, so not as small as the sleeves, but just a size to just cinch it in a little bit so that it didn't flip up, and that's done the trick. Well, I say that, it's done the trick, and it will definitely stay there now once I block it properly. So very, very pleased, very comfortable, very easy pattern. Like I say, it is my second one, and it's just nice to have something really bright. I think it's a little bit darker green in real life, I think. The cameras or the light is sort of blowing it out a little bit. But yeah, so very happy with this one. I think it's going to be a bit of a favourite. And I love all Fru Valborg stuff. Her dyeing, her colours, her blends are just beautiful. So yes, a definite ta-da moment. Thank goodness, it's taken me quite a while. How was it? When did I start? I haven't put in the finish date in my book. 3rd of March, 5th of March, March, April, May, June, July, August. It's about 6 months. Oh dear. It is on small needles though. But hey, there we go, whatever. And I've had a bit of a weird knitting mojo-y disappearance over the summer. And I know a few people have, actually. I've been watching quite a few podcasts where people have said that they've just kind of gone off the boil a little bit with projects. So, and I always get better when I've chat to my knitty friends, or we had a Zoom the other night with Julia from Happy Knitting Podcast and Becky from Back to Blighty. It was lovely to chat with them, and you see what other people are up to, and slowly that mojo kind of starts to gather momentum. So yes, I have cast on another project and some others planned. So I think we're back. I think 3, 2, 1, we're back in the room. Yeah, and I finished this notebook, my liner notebook. I don't know what you keep your notes in. I have to say this is my favourite, and I've started my new liner notebook with my new project, which I will get to in a minute. I mean, a notebook is a notebook. It doesn't matter, does it? But I do quite like these because they have a couple of pages per project. So if you haven't seen them, is that even going to show you? Yeah, just simple info, and then you've got a couple of pages then to do your own notes and scribbles and add yarns and stuff. And I tend to do that. I tend to put in my bits and bobs of yarn and dates, etc., so I can remember what's going on. Yeah, so it's quite nice. And then I like to put my pens in a notebook. Are we really talking about notebooks? We are, it's fine. And I found, you probably worked this out already, but I found these little sticky tabs. I think they were on Amazon, I guess. And they come in a pack, all different colours, and you just kind of stick them on the back of whatever notebook. put the pack away somewhere. I can't find it, so I need to get one on this one now. But they're so handy for your diaries and all those bits and bobs. And I know you're all sat there going, yes, 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 we've had them for ages. But I was like, that is a game changer. So yes, I must find, I can't remember where I put it. Anyway, you're not going to be able to help me there, I'm afraid. So finished. What else have I been doing? So I cast on a pair of DK socks in some very old stash of Debbie Bliss Mia, which is a cotton wool blend, 50-50, excuse me. And have been knitting away on those. Look how bright that is. Oh, but there she is. Super duper orange. And actually I wanted to do, I've got some green of this upstairs, which is like a lime green. So I think I'm going to do contrast heels and toes in a green. So that looks pretty cool, I think. Yes, some nice cozy camper van socks. That's what I'm making. 3x1 rib. Yeah, so probably carry on a little bit with that before I start decreasing for the toes. But yeah, that's my boring throw in a bag. What size needles? 4, I think. No, 3.5mm needles. So at least there's some sort of structure there. They're not for in shoes socks, they're for inside and in wellies socks. So a little bit further to go with those. And then I was awash with new project-itis. I think I had a coffee with my friends Calon and Tracy, and all of a sudden I was awoke into, I need to cast on something new. And I think sometimes you need to do that, don't you, to just fire up that mojo. And so I went all out. I've used up some of my hand spun. So this is one of my first big sort of sweater projects. It is Yarnadelic, 100% Corriedale. It's a little bit bright maybe. And this shade is Black Gold of the Sun. So yes, if you've been here for a while, you know how long ago I spun this. It was my first sweater quantity, and I remember seeing it arrive in its big ball of fluff thinking, what have I done? As a very, very new spinner at that time, I was like, this is going to take me forever. And it did take me quite a while, but I remember Julia sending me a message saying, it's just one bobbin at a time. And that did seem to break it down a bit. So if you are a new spinner and you are thinking, a whole load of spinning for one sweater, what's the point? Just one bobbin at a time. Just see how you go. And is it consistent? No, not at all. But it doesn't matter. It does not matter. So this is 2 of the skeins. The other 2 skeins I am using at the moment. I really like this. I'd forgotten how much I like it until I got it out the bag to give it a bit of a soak and freshen it up a bit. It's so soft, but still has a little bit of rusticness in it. And not in an itchy way, just in a, this is 100% wool way. So I am knitting the Felix Cardigan by Savoury Knitting. I will put a little picture because I don't think I've printed off the, I haven't printed off the picture in the pattern. But it's an Aran weight cardigan, and it's very difficult to show you really how much of a joy it is. But I'll put the picture here, I think it goes. So as you can see in the picture, there's some really, really lovely raglan patterning. So the increases for the raglan shoulders is done in a lovely lacy pattern. As you can see in the picture, you have eyes. So it's an Aran weight, as I say, and this is how it's working up. Oh, you can see that. I didn't think you'd be able to see it because it's so dark. The yarn is a little bit darker maybe than it's showing in the picture. But I am very, very much, enjoying. It's on a 6mm needle. Yeah, 6mm, so it goes super fast. look, I've got about ½ an inch to go, I think, before I start the ribbing. And let me see, let me check my notes. When did I start this? Bear with. It's very important that you know this. 6th of August, where are we now? 12th, so maybe a week, and I've had a full-on week in work, so it's literally been a weekend sort of knit. So it is fast. If you are looking for something that's going to give you a little bit of a nichey zing, be quick, give you a bit of interest, and then have the rounded, well, not the rounded round, but the back and four, I can thoroughly recommend this pattern. Felix Cardigan. Goes very quickly, and then I think it's 6mm in the body and then 5mm on the rib. It's a long sleeve, but I am doing it, what's the word, it's not helical because that's around and round, but so I'm doing it from 2 skeins at the same time, so just doing a back. It stopped recording then again, and I'm not sure where it stopped, so apologies if I repeat myself, but yes, 2 skeins at a time, going back and forth on one and then back and forth on the other, so that any unevenness balances out. Nothing to do with the dye lot because it's hand spun, it's all kind of thrown in together, so it's not like I'm doing it to ensure that there's not a band of colour change, but it's to do with that texture, the thickness of the yarn, making sure that that sort of evens out a little bit, because as I'm knitting, there are some bits that you go, oh, that's nice and comfortable on a 6mm needle, and then there are other bits where you think, no, these needles are far too big for the yarn. However, it just balances out in the end. As you can see, it's not blocked or anything, but even without the blocking, you can't really tell that some sections should be on a smaller needle, really. But yeah, it's working out really well, and I think, again, if you are a new or relatively new spinner, and I often hear people say, oh yeah, but my hand spinning isn't good enough for a garment. Yes, it is. Of course it is. You'll be amazed how it's once it's knitted up, how the very act of knitting it creates a whole load of forgiveness that you can't see in the garment. So do it. Just have a go. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be perfect, and why should it? You did it. You made it. So yes, I will be ticking away on that this afternoon, hoping to get to the end of the body so I can start the ribbing, because I haven't done any in 5mm needles yet, so I'll be interested to see how it feels in that. But I am very keen to do another one of these already. And what will be quite nice, I think, is to try now to spin, I say more consistently. I do try to spin consistently, but maybe I don't check it often enough. And if you are a spinner, these are really handy. There's the wraps per inch checkers. Is that going to focus? Hello, there we go. That you can just keep checking where you are, what you're spinning, what the thickness is, so that when you come to either ply it together or use it as singles, you've got some skeins that are pretty even. But like I say, it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that you are spinning up stuff, knitting up stuff, and not worrying too much about being exact. That's the joy of handmade, I think. Well, that's what I tell myself anyway. It's fine, doesn't matter. So there we go. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna maybe get some more of the Yarnadelic in a different shade and spin up another Felix cardigan's worth, because I wear a lot of cardigans, but because I don't like knitting the back and forth, I'm not a huge fan of purl. I haven't really done them, but this has gone so quickly that it hasn't really bothered me at all. So happy days. So yes, other things I am spinning. So this is which I've had for quite a while actually, but I am getting on with it now. This is the Appledore, John Arbon Textiles Appledore in Quench. So I have spun up 100 grams of the Appledore Slackma girdle, and now this is the Quench, and I think there's Romney in there. I can't quite remember the fibre makeup, but this is how it has come out, or is coming out. And this is my second bobbin, so also going to ply these together now this afternoon. Big plans this afternoon, hence the whole pot of coffee. Yes, we're going to ply those together. I'm not really sure what thickness yarn they will be, and there's a few kind of curly-whirly bits. Doesn't matter. To see what I get there, I do have, I think it's 400 grams in total of that I have, and I've probably got half left to spin up. But I'm doing that on my, so what we were saying the other night with Becky and Julia, that on my foot spindle, my foot wheel, and then I'm doing some other bits and bobs on my e-spinner, which I won't show you because I haven't done a great deal on that lately. Yeah, so that's sort of about it in terms of knitting and spinning. It's been slow and steady, I would say, with a bit of a peak. If we've got those little graphs, there's definitely been a peak of productivity over the last week, 10 days or so, which I'm so pleased about, because sometimes it's difficult, isn't it, to find the momentum. You need those projects to fire your imagination. And on that note, there's a couple of projects that I've been looking at. I'll pop a picture in here maybe, because it might inspire you guys to knit up something ready for the autumn. I know we don't feel like we've had much of a summer yet, but it's nice to have those projects lined up possibly. And one is the Versal, is it? I'm not sure how you say it, but it's a lovely polar neck sweater. Very similar to the Erst sweater I did a while back, and I definitely want to do another one of those, but it's along those lines. It's an Arbon, possibly a chunky weight with a nice thick collar, and I think the Corridale will be a nice yarn for that, a nice fibre for that, so I'm thinking about spinning up for that. What else? I'll put another picture, I can't remember, but it's a sort of a lacy cropped sweater, which I'm really interested in having a go at. Something that's not just round and round now. Maybe that's what I need, is something that has a bit of intrigue to it for the eye and for the fingers. So looking at that, but those are the only long-term plans I have really. I'm watching this, we've got a cat that keeps coming to do its business in the garden, and I'm not sure whether it's that one, but it's eyeballing me right now through the window. We'll see, better not be. Yes, anyway, and we've got one of these, you know, like what are they called? They kind of emit a sound when it comes into a certain section of the garden, where it always seems to go. We can't hear it at all, but the kids, when they're home, they're like, what's that noise? Nope, can't hear anything. But yes, they can hear the cat scarer. And I don't think it does the cats any harm, because they just wander along there and it doesn't bother them much. But yeah, the kids are like, can you stop walking past that thing? Yeah, can't hear it at all. The joys of getting old, eh? Yes, sorry, that was a real digress. So spinning, yes. Plans for the future, yes. Getting back the knitting mojo, yes. What's next? No, so that's sort of all the kind of the fibery, knitting-y content really. So if you are leaving us here, thank you so much for coming along. I hope that that your projects are giving you a bit of joy, or that maybe if you're in a project fug, you can kind of think about cozy sweaters on big needles. Those are the sweet spots, I think, for the moment. They certainly are for me anyway at the moment. Yes, so thank you so much for joining us. If you are staying, so what am I getting up to? What have I been up to? It's been a busy few weeks really in work, as always. Excuse me. But I did have a week off for the kids' birthday. It was my twins' 21st last week, the week before. So yeah, had a few events and a few family things, and it was really nice because the weather was really nice. So we were able to get together and be outside, because obviously with the restrictions, etc., on numbers inside, we were able to go outside into the garden and have a few people around. So that was great. But yeah, I've been ferrying them back and forth to end of university houses and now into, hey, adulting houses. Been quite a shock to the system, I think, for them. As it is once you get to the end of your university days, isn't it? You're like, oh, Now I choose. And I know we choose to go to university or not, but I think this is the first sort of open choice they have, where you go, yeah, it's up to you now. Scary times. So yeah, that's been a bit of an adjustment, I think, for them both. But they're well. And then I get some annual leave now next week for the next 2.5, 3 weeks. So we are going to have a little pootle about in the camper van, which we bought earlier in the summer. Yeah, maybe go up to the Peak District, maybe go up to the Lake District. So if you know of any nice yarn shops or fibery things up there, do let me know. Yeah, heading around Kendal, Keswick, Bakewell, that sort of area up there. Yeah, so looking forward to doing that really and trying to switch off. So I probably won't put podcast until I get back, but I will take some bits and bobs of footage. And yeah, I've been promising a camper van vlog and I've got all the footage, but my computer, my laptop is, I don't think it's my friend at the moment. I don't really know what's going on. I need to clean it up. And you know what that's like. It means kind of deciding whether you need documents or pictures or videos anymore, and that's always very stressful, I find. So I need to kind of create some space to be able to do some more editing of videos. So yeah, I will do that, but it won't be immediately. But yes, so other than that, all is well. So I'm going to leave you there before I blather on any longer. Lovely to spend some time with you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and drop me a line. You can grab me on Instagram or here on the comment section here. I do tend to pick these up quite often, but Instagram is the easiest way to kind of get in touch. And yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. Have a lovely few weeks and speak to you soon. Diolch pawb, hwyl fawr, bye.